And we are now live. It took me a second to unmute our beautiful players and myself. Welcome back to The Actuality. I'm Grant Ellis, and I'm the host here on this show called Grammar of the Dark, which is an Invisible Sun narrative here on the Grimjack 21502 channel, where we are participating in a surreal fantasy experiment where we uncover secrets and ask ourselves the question what it means to be human. And tonight I am joined by several friends. Unfortunately, my good friend Nomadic can't be here tonight, but my thoughts are with Gnome and his family. He's a good pal. Had a lot of fun hanging out with him at PAX Unplugged. But why don't we introduce our cast tonight? Let's go around and let's start with Lobelia. Hello, Lindy.
Hi, I'm Laugh Love Lindy, and I will be playing Lobelia. Full title is definitely the Aromatic Stoneheart Maker who converses with everything. She's just your normal, average gal. Nothing weird about her at all. She just does very properly. She's very driven. She's got a goal. She's gonna achieve it. Like, completely normal.
As I sideshow Bob. Yes, so that is a thing. An aromatic stoneheart maker who converses with everything. Also joining us tonight, playing Lucy Girl is Charlie. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm ready for the end of my week. I'm ready for my creative cleanse and dive into the multicolored actuality. And I will be playing Lucy Girl, who is an aromatic empath of the Order of the Weavers, who listens to whispers. But apparently she's not the only one who listens to those whispers in our neighborhood.
There are ears among us who are listening to the secrets. And also joining us is my good friend Greg, Grimjack21502, who's playing Robin. Steampunk Ebenezer Scrooge that he is.
Is it still Christmas? We still have time. Okay, so what we're gonna do is Robin is ready. We were talking in the green room. I love everything about this game. I'm gonna share something really quick just to show how cool this game is for everybody watching on Twitch and on YouTube. Grant's told us that there was a good kind of spontaneous, just go right into it improv. And Grant, what was the one lyrical line of a song that could be thrown out in Invisible Sun for it to be utilized in the narrative? Which one did you?
I gave
Pink
an
Floyd?
example from Pink Floyd. Your lips move, but I can't hear what you're saying.
What a system! Pink Floyd is mechanic. It can be used. My mind is blown. I play Robin. Robin in this system is, and I gotta look it up because I'm still learning,
The
an
Boy
itinerant
Wonder.
Order of the Goetica who dwells in shadows. But I'm going to tell you what, I am dwelling in the invisible sun right now. Take me away, wise papa.
Before I take you away, we will be wooed by the silvery tongue of Reverend Neil. Tommy, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. We'll see. I mean, we'll see how much of a silver tongue Reverend Neil has. But yeah, I'm Tommy. I play Reverend Neil. I'm a stalwart stoic of the Order of Vance who consumes flesh.
As he takes a bite out of it. You need some ambiguous just tear into as we introduce your character. Now,
I just got like a haunch or something here. Just
Like one of those dino legs from Disneyland.
yeah, Castlevania style. Just punch a
Big
wall
old
and
turkey
pull a
leg.
chicken leg out of it and be like, there, I feel healthier. My hit points have gone back up. Good old NES style medicine there. Just punch a wall, eat a turkey leg that you find in it. That'll keep you alive. When last we left our intrepid heroes, our players, they are playing powerful practitioners of magic known as Vizsla. They belong to many different orders, which is sort of gives a definition behind their philosophical. Thank you for the cheer power score. How you doing, Sean? It was great to see you at PAX Unplugged. Sneaking out and saying hi to all God's children. I actually learned how to play D&D by reading Sean's blog. They play powerful practitioners of magic known as Vizsla. They belong to different orders, which kind of states their philosophy behind magic, the way it works. Vances view magic as a system of logic, a method of speaking, a science to be mastered. Makers view magic to be manifested through their works. They fabricate magical items and objects of power. The weavers view magic as an art form, a way of feeling and being, something that can be emoted. And there are also apostates who think all that's rubbish and magic is as magic does, to quote a popular film from the early 90s. Invisible Sun is a player-driven game where our players set scenes. But before our players set the scenes, let's get into the Soothe deck. That's actually Twitch. This is the Soothe deck. So what you see here is the Path of Suns. This is represents the path of the human soul. There are 9 suns going from silver, green, blue, indigo, gray, pale, red, and gold, as well as an invisible sun that sits outside the path. I'm going to begin the session by playing a Soothe card, which is a tarot-like card. It is a card of divination that is going to impact the way magic works today. Allow me to actually pull up the cheat sheet. I have a cheat sheet, and it's going to tell me how magic works. So I have pulled up an Adept, which means I need to play another card. I pulled up the Assassin card, though.
I've got murder boots.
Yeah, I was like, as Lobelia is in the party. Let me show this card to our audience. So you can see this is a beautifully illustrated card. Scary as you have this rat crawling around this individual's shoulder. But it's a card that means finesse, stealth, betrayal, finality. But also, as it is an adept card, it begs us to play another card. So that is exactly what we're going to do and advance along the Path of Suns. Each time we play one of these cards, it impacts and changes the way magic works. The next card we have played is a Sovereign card, the Watcher. The Watcher is a parental figure, sight, alertness, observation, knowledge. It indicates that we must pay close attention. And what this card means mechanically is all the characters get +1 on all their actions. And if their heart is linked, meaning their heart is tied to a suit. So, for example, Lobelia was a stone heart that is tied to an animal such as a cat, a rat.
Mine's the rat.
So since you are tied to the rat, you get +2 to all actions. So essentially, all of our characters become slightly more powerful while this Sovereign card is in effect. Let's go back to our primary scene. This is a player-driven narrative where our players set the scenes. When last we left off, they had escaped from pursuers who had interrupted the reading of a will. Objects of power and magic were bestowed upon our party members, including one particular was granted to Lobelia, a key to a room of memories and secrets, which we managed to divine is most likely beneath Lucy Girl's apartment. I'm curious what sort of scene our players would like to set today and how we can tie the character arcs together. I know we have sort of a fun scene we'd like to start with involving the slide. We can, if Charlie could sort of describe how that slide works. First session involves a world building session. But let's decide how we want to set a scene as players. So I'm going to sort of turn the wheels over to you all at the moment.
Okay, so the slide, as we described in our world building session, there is a hole in the ground that is a slide, and if you slide down it, you will burst through a random closed door in the neighborhood. Which door? You don't know. And Lucy and Reverend Neil have a history with the slide.
So, what might bring all of the party members to the slide?
Well, we had been discussing that we have an ear problem in the neighborhood.
Ah, yes.
By the ear problem are literally ears that are popping up everywhere and listening to whispers and conversations and secrets. And we want to know where they're coming from or who's sending them, and try, if possible, to stop said sending and confront said sender. So that's what the slide might be able to help with.
And I believe that we think the ears are almost definitely connected with the room to which Lobelia now has a key. That Pharaoh, I forgot what that name was. Thank you, Pharaoh, was using the ears against the populace, for the populace, probably against, I think against, to collect these secrets. So I think in a way we want to stop the ears, and Lucy very much wants to stop the ears. They are definitely a hideous violation of privacy, and we need to know, I think, where they come from in order to know how to stop them. As simply sending out ear catchers has been ineffectual so far, as one of our dear friends found out.
So, what if the group had been investigating the ear problem, and as you had been investigating, I'm going to play a soothe card for inspiration. This is the nice thing about these cards; it gives us a good way to tie scenes together. So, fleeting moment, lost time, elusiveness, agility, reaction. So something strange happens with time, or the perception of time, in an NPC, an elusive NPC, and by that it means like a legendary beast makes an appearance. So the demon of all lies manifested while investigating the ear problem. We will say that the party had gone to a library. We'll say they were at the Library of the Burning Principality, which we've used in other campaigns. And while going through the books to solve the ear problem, we came to a page, and reading the word upon the page manifested this demon of all lies, this creature of the dark. Mechanically, indigo magic, magic dealing with truth, becomes a little stronger right now. And so the party had fled, and the party has managed to, is approaching and has arrived at the slide. So let's play out a scene. The demon is going to be essentially, for mechanical purposes, about 3 rounds away. So it's going to take it a little bit of time to catch you. But the party's arrived. So we start sort of in the middle of things, with the party escaping this demon of lies. Now, you don't have to worry too much. You obviously don't want it to get you, but it probably can't cause too much trouble in Fartown, as the Thaw, a mysterious group of enforcers, will probably arrive in about 6 rounds to take care of the demon. You could try to fight it yourselves and defend yourselves, or you could try to use the slide to escape. But we will begin this scene escaping the demon of all lies. It stands about, we'll say, 10 feet tall. It's about 5 feet wide. And it is essentially animated knives swirling through a void of hate and darkness. And it is lurching towards the party. What do you do?
I must say, all my life has become considerably more interesting ever since we got that key from the Pharaoh. I This is twice now in what, a week now that we've had to run for our lives, and
It's quite disconcerting. I can't say I enjoy this.
we uh, we really should get to the bottom of this like ear thing as well as now. Do we know where the room is that the key unlocks, or like the whether it's physical or not?
You
Um,
have a very good. Yeah, I'll go ahead and let you
Yeah,
talk.
Lucy, as we were trying to escape last time, discovered a map which showed the ground floor of her apartment and basically an X on the map. And when she went there and she spoke to I think it was a ghost. She spoke to the whispers to find out the truth of what was going on, and she heard her neighbor's voice and was told to return in a week, and then it would be ready. So I think Lucy would have shared in part this information with Reverend Neil and Robin, who I believe she would have had contact with in the meantime. And by extension, that maybe would have reached Lobelia. But
Maybe.
Lucy is definitely, in a way, trying to keep the key from the room. As long as we can keep the key safe and the room safe and the two apart, the secrets and the stories are safe. And that's Lucy's thought. And as the Reverend and Lobelia discussed the disconcerting situation we're in, Lucy's eyes are open, looking for ears, looking for a route to run, not wanting to be caught.
Robin would be the exact same way as Lucy. He would have his hand out, come on, looking for the slide, looking for the escape that it would offer. And if it's in sight, he would be getting to the bottom of the ladder up to the slide. I picture an old school 1950s, totally unsafe now. You would never see it in today's
Big silver slides.
Yeah, it's like a 30-foot straight up ladder. Right.
And then it goes down at like a freaking like 60-degree angle.
And I imagine because this is Invisible Sun, that it starts to curve, like once you've done that angle, it starts to curve at like a perfect corkscrew, and it just continuously goes down, and there's just no bottom. There's a continuous ongoing until you arrive through the closed door.
Wherever that may be.
Wherever that may be.
So, you still have more time. You can hear the knives dragging along the sidewalk in the distance.
We're going to use this slide. I think we should use it now.
Well,
I agree, but how can we all stay together?
We can hold hands. A physical bond is nearly as strong as anything else.
maybe like I don't know if the slide is really wide enough for all of us to hold hands, but like perhaps that thing where like you link legs with the person in front of you, sort of around,
Like a
perhaps
bobsled.
that way.
Robin, go ahead and make a intellect check. So the way this works is you roll a 10-sided die, the values go from 0 to 9, and you have points in a pool, an intellect pool, that you can spend to add to that as well. This isn't going to be a particularly difficult challenge, though. You just need to get a 2 or higher on the 10-sided die, so you can spend points or you can roll straight.
I rolled a 3.
You succeeded. You know that while it's random where you'll end up, as long as you are within 5 minutes of sliding through the door of each other, you should be within nearby proximity of each other. For example, you would end up in the same building or the same street or the same yard, as long as there's physical space.
Robin being an absolutely a creature of community, he loves having others around. One potential exception, he would not share this information. He would agree with the Reverend and just say, "Yes, we must all be together. I can take the front, and Lobelia can take the rear."
All right.
Okay. So with that, Robin, you're sliding first, and then it'll go Lucy, Neil, then Lobelia.
Yeah, I think Neil's the only one who's like comfortable with Lobelia, so I imagine.
I think if it's
Doesn't know
okay,
any better.
Lucy is gonna pass Robin her umbrella that she always has with her because she doesn't want to drop it on the slide. And it's kind of awkward to hold it in the middle. Whereas if it's at the front, it could be straight out, almost like a lance. Or however Robin feels is safest to hold the umbrella.
All right.
Tally ho.
Robin goes down, his old bones racing down the slide, and he shoots through the door, feet first, busting through. It feels like something out of a Tim Burton animated film. You are sucked through what feels like an accordion. The notes that an accordion would play kind of ricochet through your body. You land in a dark room with not a single light on. You hear faint moaning, creaking, weeping, sighing. Who's there? A weak voice says. The next to go through is Lucy Girl. Lucy Girl, you shoot out through the same sort of accordion sounding, and you land on a soft pink sofa surrounded by stuffed animals who appear to be somewhat animated. They kind of turn their heads towards you, and they put their little soft hands on you as almost if to say, relax, stay a while, the tea is ready. And animated teapots come in to serve you a delicious brunch, which is an appropriate hour for that. Neil, you shoot through a door, and you land on a bed. Lobelia, describe your bed to Reverend Neil.
Well, it is in the shape of a heart. It has a lot of lace. It's very pink and purples and white lace. There's definitely like little curtain thing around it in the shape of a heart as well. And the little curtains are all tied up tidy with big fluffy bows. And it's very comfortable, very bouncy. Tons of pillows, all different shapes and sizes, but they're all symmetrical. Like one side of the it's like a small heart pillow, small pillow, large blue pillow. Different. It's all very perfectly organized. Very lacy, very soft. The walls in the bedroom are like they got like the beadboard paneling on the bottom in white with like pink stripes up top, and yeah, it's very comfortable. Smells like a little bit of maybe like lavender.
I've been trying to go to bat for you here, Lobelia. You're not making this easy.
What her bed looks like.
No.
Reverend Neil looks distinctly uncomfortable. He's like,
It's very large.
A
Spacious.
phonograph, kind of the needle goes and starts to play a song. It plays a song from Shadow. Lobelia, what is the song from Shadow that it plays? It's vital.
The song from Shadow. It would be the Dresden Dolls playing
Oh no!
Coin Operated Boy.
I was hoping
Because I've been listening to that all day.
All right. Coin Operated Boy. We'll cut back to Robin in a second. And Lobelia, you come through. And you land on your at the chair in front of your workbench in your workshop. You have all landed in the house of Lobelia. Everyone is feeling quite good right now. You, however, Robin, have earned a point of despair as you're in what feels like a prison, confines of sorts, and you hear this voice speaking to you. Hello? And then there's kind of like a chorus that follows. Hello, 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 hello. Kind of ricochets. Are you unwanted as well? As well. You feel the creepiest little hand starting to feel up your ankle now. You're made of flesh. He is a flesh and bone.
Lucy. Lucy. Lucy.
A couple of pink glowing butterflies begin to float through a vent. They start to illuminate the room. You see silhouettes. They almost look like an artist mannequin doll that you would pose. Some have hair, some have half hair, some have quarter hair, some have no hair. Some are missing arms. Others have legs. Some have hooks for hands. Some have, fully operated fingers. But there's at least a dozen personages in this room with you, kind of lurching about. Oh, let us welcome the new one. Let us welcome the newest unwanted. And they're kind of circling around you. Why did she not love you? What was wrong with you? I think it's his beard. And they're like tugging on your face now. It's uncomfortable. Grimming your cheeks.
Who are we talking about? Who's she? I have no clue where I am, right? So this could easily be, I've never been in Lobelia.
Our angel! They all cry out in unison. Ooh.
Does the angel have a name?
We're not worthy to speak it. We tried to be worthy. She asked us
Draw
to
it
speak it. It was the final test.
Draw it in the dust. Points to the turtle.
She never taught us to read or write. She said it would be dangerous if we learned language. But I did try to write her a letter once. And, one pulls out, an oily rag. And, it's oily because he attempted to write a letter in the oils, and he opens it up, and the most terrifying chicken scratch. We're talking Jackson Pollock painting meets a kindergartner. It just says Lobelia, and then there's a heart, and then there's two stick figures holding hands, and you can see the poofy hair on one, and the dun-dun-dun.
As soon as it's open, Robin would immediately
as you scream, the door cracks open, lights flooded. Batalia's there, and he goes, Robin! And he takes a stick and like a push broom, and he's pushing back the rejects away. He's like, pay them no mind, pay them no mind. And they're like, her guardian.
Okay.
The destroying angel, they refer to him as. He's like, I'm nothing of the sort. Get out of here, Robin. Robin, come with me. And he's trying to escort you out.
Wait. Is there a small one?
There's one that's small because he has no legs and his arms were never finished. His touch was just a little too. How did she describe it? There wasn't enough care in his touch. He's big enough.
How big?
About 2.5 feet total.
Okay. Robin is going to his great tweed coat that he has on now. He is going to open it and reveal one of the many pockets. And as he's being shuffled out, he's going to pull it for a moment and be like, "Come," and beckons.
Yeah, it kind of crawls up you, grabs around your waist, and tucks itself back in your jacket. Rests its chin on your spine.
Shh. Then he leaves. Thank you.
And with that, you've earned your point of despair. You're out, and you are now in Lobelia's house. My question for the group now is: where do you all get together next in the?
I mean, Rev immediately gets off the bed and like straightens his cassock and.
As you try to get back, the blankets try to fold around you. They're kind of like, you haven't loved the bed enough, and the bed kind of speaks to you. It's like,
Not today, Satan.
at that rebuking, the bed yields. It goes, "Oh, fine, be that way," and it kind of gives you a light consensual tap. Tap.
Well, Lobelia, having just arrived at her house after having that ordeal at the library, she needs to change her outfit to better suit her mood, so she'll go to her bedroom.
And Reverend's going right for the doors since he heats off the.
You open the door right into. So you're in the bedroom, and kind of as you're about to go out the door, Lobelia's coming in the door, and you both are stuck in the middle.
Oh, well, hello, Reverend.
Opposite size is like confession. This is great.
Well, I'm glad to see that we all seem to have possibly made it to the same house. I'm assuming that if you're here, the rest are here.
I would assume so. This is my house. Welcome.
That bless your heart. That explains a lot. We should
Whatever do you mean?
I mean, the shades in here, they've remarkably match what sort of your own color palette that I see in you.
Yes, I do appreciate good color coordination and organization.
I can see that, my dear child. We should perhaps find the other two before Robin has a hernia.
Why would he have a hernia? Does he injure himself sliding often?
I wouldn't say it was from the sliding. But let's just say anytime Robin in I imagine going through the slide may have been a bit of a shock for him.
Oh, well, let me simply grab my house coat, and she'll just grab like a little robe. It's like pink and lacy, and she'll put it on over. I believe we should meet in the parlor. Tea will be served shortly.
I mean, I will gladly leave the finding of them to you, as this is your house, and I would not wish to.
I will escort you to the parlor then.
Yes.
She'll offer you her arm.
I don't know if he. Does he take it?
If he didn't want to take it, he could rest a hand on her shoulder, and then it's nearly the same, but not quite so buddy.
Yeah, I was thinking that for a moment. I was like,
Be very careful how you choose this. There are eyes all over this house.
Yeah, I think he does. I think he does rest his hand on your shoulder and sort of that, go forth, my child way.
She'll lead you to the tea room, which is where I imagine the parlor is, where Lucy Girl probably
That's where Lucy is, with a variety of stuffed animals that have immediately taken to her. They are just amazed at how Lucy looks. They've never seen anyone other than Lobelia. But Tally doesn't pay them any mind. And the others they've seen, they haven't seen very long. They normally don't make it this far.
Oh, Lucy Girl, how incredibly convenient. I've already found Reverend Neil. Perhaps I should look for Robin next.
I'm delighted to be your guest.
Is the tea suitable? Should I have them prepare an Earl Grey instead?
It's perfect. No, it's perfect. Thank you. I don't know how you knew that I liked English breakfast tea the best.
The teapot has an old man face kind of engraved on the side. It's like, "It's the best hot tea in the world," he says.
Yes.
His name's Pops. Pops makes the tea.
It's delightful.
I will. I will also gladly partake in some tea while lovely host here perhaps finds our lost sheep of the party.
I will find Robin and bring him back forthwith.
Robin is being
Enjoy the
escorted into the room immediately by Batali. Robin looks like he's gained about 30 pounds, but, you know, it might just be the lighting.
Robin!
Hello, Robin.
Hi.
Would you like some tea? It's very good.
Do I have a
It
choice?
is- the tea is quite nice.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Da Vinci, the proto-lover, also known as Leo, affectionately, Da Vinci's, like, one functional hand is, like, trembling and, like, fumbling around your, like, belly button. It's like, she's near. She's near.
Tea?
You can hear him whispering.
We can hear whispering.
Robin can.
Okay, nice.
This is almost like Cyrano. Tell her you love her. Tell her.
He will just shift his coat around a bit.
Yeah, you shut him up. Dislocated his jaw.
I do recommend taking a little bit of tea, my dear friend. It may help with the nerves of the night after all the ordeal that we have been through.
Lobelia, your friends are very nice, very welcoming.
Oh, thank you. They're my creations.
You tell me
But-
more about the
tell-
creation process. And she's now wondering whose souls are in all of these stuffed animals.
Well, these are toys that I created and animated.
They get up and they start
so lonely.
doing a synchronized dance routine. Like, they've got some moves.
Some of them are quite clever, though not as clever as they would be if they had a heart or soul.
Oh. I see. Well, they are marvelous creations.
Thank you. I take great pride in my work.
You notice at the far side of the parlor, there's a little stage, little stuffed animal size stage, and every now and then, you know, the stuffed animals gravitate towards there. And they seem to be reenacting various works of literature from every age that you could find in Shadow, and yeah, they're
This
performing.
is Chuck E. Cheese. We're in Chuck E. Cheese.
Come now, Greg. I'm a showbiz pizza boy myself. This is the Rockafire explosion comes out the wall. Look, it's Fats Geronimo, the gorilla. It's the keyboard. No. Oh, I can't wait to put the Rockafire explosion in a campaign.
As the toys vacate to do their song, dance, and drama,
It's Romeo and
Lucy.
Juliet, the musical.
Lucy is going to move up so there is space for Robin to sit next to her because she can't escape, and nor can he now.
Tally seems very suspicious of the location of Reverend Neil's hand.
Reverend Neil does not notice. Well, he doesn't. I think he probably possibly notices if Batali's not making it like subtle. He is fairly aware of things around him, but he doesn't comment. He's like, now that we are all back together, we should perhaps figure out what our plan is here. I would certainly, we need to keep this key safe until a time of which that we can secure the room upon which it opens.
On the
I would-
subject of security, Lobelia, are there any more closed doors in your house? I'm sorry, Reverend Neil, but it occurs to me that the demon could possibly have followed us down the slide, and if there is another closed door in the house, that might be where they end up.
You hear a loud shaking from the kitchen, and I'm going to perform a GM shift where, the demon's in the kitchen.
He doesn't make too terrible a mess. Everything was color-coded, organized by shape and size, and
Why
Density.
am I suddenly very afraid for this demon should she return to her kitchen and find it a mess?
Hold on, I need to change my shoes.
I don't think we have time.
Murder boots.
Those are remarkable.
Oh, thank you. I found them.
Very red and pointy.
Grant, as subtly as Robin can, he wants to ask Leo, because all of them spent time in the above world before they were cast out, correct? Presumably, from what I heard down there.
Okay. All of them had been cast out as rejects. Failed. They're not worthy of Lobelia, for one reason or another. She has a log that could tell you all their failures.
Okay, so I've got
Leo, his hand was just wrong.
Okay, it's been wrong on my navel as well. So Charlie in the box. I'm going to ask, if as subtly as I can, I am going to ask, if you tell me where she hides her precious things, I will let you go. You can live here again in the upper world.
Everything is in the open. Everything is in the open.
The key, where's the key, have you heard?
She carries it on her. It's in her purse.
What good are you? No, I'm joking.
A squirt gun that shoots jelly. Sorry.
Right.
If we're going to do one misfit toy, we're going to do them all.
Right.
An elephant with polka
With
dots.
square wheels. Right.
Well, I suppose. I
A
mean,
cowboy that rides an ostrich.
Can we do the
I'm
Rudolph
I'm gonna-
RPG session on your
Please.
channel? The Island of Misfit Toys.
We're on the island.
See, that's not a thing in the UK, so I have no idea what you're talking about. Other than
We'll hook you up.
Yeah.
oh,
We got
oh god. Only if I get to be an elf who wants to be a dentist.
That, yes.
Dibs on the spotted elephant.
Anyway, Reverend
Total
Neil's
Party Kill Handbook presents The Island of Misfit Toys. Yes, now Invisible
This is
Sun.
rather unfortunate. We seem to have the demon of all lies inside of my kitchen.
yes, that does seem. We should probably do something about that, or perhaps vacate the premises rather exponentially fast.
Oh, we
Here's
cannot
some-
vacate the premises.
Here's some
I
things
can-
to think about.
So,
So,
Geez, wonderful. It's time to leave.
we could contain it or send it back to where it came from. We summoned it with a word. Can we not send it back the same way?
ooh, that's worth a shot. So, do you have any goetics among you? I believe you have Robin. So, Robin can make a deal, enter, I believe it's called a colloquy, with the demon. So, you can offer it something, you can threaten it. It's kind of up to you how you want to handle this. I can pull up the matrix for it. But,
I'm not sure that I've conveyed the cowardice that is Robin quite as well as I needed to. If you believe that there's going to be a confrontation with a demon.
well, you've
Robin.
spoken. That's just it, though. Now, they might be able to persuade you, but let's role play it out to see what it would take to convince Robin to do it.
What if I went with Robin? I could help him. I'm sure I could figure out some sort of protection.
We'll both die. Tear us
No one
asunder.
dies in the actuality.
The equivalent will be nothing. Will be scattered.
Robin, open the umbrella.
I can't see my luck.
Not with this umbrella.
Okay, he'll open the umbrella
Okay, so as you
and
open
twirl it a bit.
it up and twirl it a bit, it has the effect of, it looks what would be in our world like little LEDs in it that light up. And then off of each of the spokes, little light sparks just fall down as if rain. They're nothing more than light. You're always safe with a nightlight. Doesn't matter what the monster is. Just hold it over your head. P.S. This has no mechanical use, but if Robin believes it, then it'll work.
I know, and I'm playing it like Robin thinks you're giving him something that will actually protect him.
The door to the kitchen opens.
To do.
Reverend Neil will stand next to Robin and place his hand on his shoulder in much the same way he placed it on Lobelia's earlier. And he says to Robin, "Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your umbrella and your hat, they comfort me." And do we see the demon coming out, or?
No, but I'd like everybody to roll a 10-sided die, and this is a chance to resist. If you want to bonus this up, you can spend points from an intellect pool.
Do we get a +1 from the card thing to this? Because we're battling the demon of lies, and therefore we're a force for truth.
Let me see which card we're at now. Now, the Watcher is no longer in effect. The fleeting moment is, but let me play a card. Gold magic will be stronger. So let me show the audience. So untrustworthy mirror is the new card.
Ooh,
because
my object's a mirror.
Yes. So
why am I
it's
not
time.
surprised?
I didn't pick it.
And this one is very, very specific. But I'll get into exactly what it means based off of your rolls. Now, go ahead and give yourselves... I'll let everyone have +1 to this roll based on the virtue of the Sovereign card that was played earlier. However, I'm immediately playing a card after your roll, which will end up being the Untrustworthy Mirror.
Okay.
And it works very well.
Grant, a 0 is a 0 in this, right? It's not a 10.
0 is a 0.
At which point, I'm spending all of my intellect and adding that 1 to get a 3.
Okay.
We can roll and then decide if we want to add points.
I prefer that you decide beforehand. But since we're all learning the game, it's okay.
I was going to spend all of them anyway, but...
I figured as much. You can also spend a point of sortilege to roll multiple dice. You can only do 1 unless you have a special knack that lets you roll.
I will spend 1 point of intellect.
I rolled and I got a 4 total.
I have a special skill, which is seeing through deception. Does that help me?
Yes. You get to add that as well. So that puts you up to a 4.
4. Uh-oh.
Oh, I also have seen through deception.
What did you
Nice.
get, Craig? Did you get a 9?
With my +1 to int, I got an 8.
So, what did you get, Neil?
Well, if we're adding seeing through deception as well, that gives me a total of 5. Does understanding magic here help me as well?
Not enough in this particular situation, but essentially, this swirling vortex of knives and stardust comes through, although Batali speaks up and goes, The Pharaoh's back. Essentially, it being the demon of all lies is attempting to deceive everyone. Lobelia would have seen her perfect lover. Lucy Girl would have seen her pet snail. There's Robin would have seen what Robin always sees. a poster of Rita Hayworth, and behind it, a tunnel leading to his freedom. Neil would have seen.
Time in my life, I was guilty of committing a crime.
All right. But no one is deceived after spending the points. And unless it comes out, Batali is the only one deceived. What do you do?
I believe in you, Robin. Apparently more convincingly.
Would the demon of lies be
All lies.
of all lies? Would it be considered a creature?
Yes.
Yes. Then I think Reverend Neil is going to cast a spell.
All right. So, how many? What level's the spell?
So the spell is level 5.
You'll spend 5 sorcery points, and then they'll go away.
Yeah. So the way I understand it is either I spend the points. If I spend the points, I keep the spell prepared, right? I'm
You're doing
advanced.
Vancium magic. Yes.
Yeah.
So you can do
So
that.
either I can spend the points and keep the spell prepared, or I use it once and I forget it until I prepare it again, right? That's sort of how it works. All right.
Yep.
I am going to spend the points because I believe I have level 5 in sorcery. Yep. So I'm going to spend the spells to keep it. And the spell is the beta spell, advanced beta spell. In the grip of the darkening beast, in which a creature within short range suffers 1 anguish and is struck blind until that damage is recovered. It is red.
Okay, so you won't get any bonuses for it being red. However, you're going to spend these 5 points. Go ahead and roll a 10-sided die, and we're going to add 5 to the total.
Okay. Come on, dice. That is going to be an 8.
All right, so you don't suffer a magical flux. Every now and then if you roll a 0, weird things happen, like your hair turns white forever, your nose falls off, etc. And you have well surpassed, so all these things happen. So you have struck the demon blind. What was the other effect?
And it suffers 1 anguish. So Reverend Neil, the way... Yeah, so the way he sort of casts magic is that he opens up the book that he always has with him, sort of a Bible in a sense, and he opens it up to a specific passage that he remembers exactly where it is. And he says, pardon if I butcher pronunciation of anything. And he says, Eterat tribos diebos novidens.
And the demon kind of knives fall off. It gets it turns red all over, and it can no longer see. Batali's running up to embrace it, though. What does the party allow Batali to embrace it?
Lobelia would like to stop Batali from embracing it.
Describe how you stop him.
She's just gonna grab him, like try to grab him and hold him back.
Ooh. Batali receives a point of joy. He immediately he feels very comfortable in your arms. He's just kind of like, oh, and he's immediately snapped out of it. He's like, Lobelia, the demon, and he draws a sword which ignites in blue flames, and he gets ready to fight this thing.
Where was he keeping that?
In its pants.
And I definitely think Reverend Neil turns to Robin at this point and says, "Go, my child. I have stilled it for now, or I've blinded it for now. Or that's not his voice. I'm dropping into a different voice. Go now, my child. I've blinded it for now.
Okay, Reverend. Robin will go forward and in his best Ray stance say, we would like you to leave this home forthwith and return to wherever it is you're from or the most convenient parallel dimension.
So this is going to be a persuasion check, and you're going to get +2 on the roll since it's pretty beat up. You're goetic. You can also spend any bonus points.
Yeah, he's going to spend 2, I think, here. Just to,
I think
so
I
I'll
have something that can give Robin an additional 1 on a persuasion. I think I read that somewhere, but I can't remember what part of my character does it.
We'll double check for the meanwhile. I totally believe it, and I'd buy it, especially after the umbrella.
I think it's because she's an empath, maybe.
Yeah.
So what I'll say is he's got the umbrella, and she'll reach out and put a hand in the middle of his back between his shoulder blades, and she's gonna glance back nervously to Reverend Neil, and then really focus convincing and reassuring energy towards Robin.
So roll that 10-sided die. Let me know what you get.
I swear if it's a 0.
It's another 9.
Oh!
It is consumed by a red and black vortex and is gone and departed from the house. And you receive a point of joy, Robin, for expelling a greater demon.
That's my first point of joy, everybody. Legit.
Yeah, Da Vinci moves his hand up your chest and just kind of places his little hand on your heart and pats
I'll
you.
allow it.
Well done. Now tell her you love her.
Shh. Baby steps.
Mike in the chat, and his heart grew 1 size that day. He did.
I knew that having my faith in you, Robin, has never gone wrong. Believe in yourself some more. You are powerful in your own right. And you are courageous.
Killed.
Thank you, Reverend.
And the Reverend sits down looking like he's definitely a little bit, he just cast a fairly big spell for himself right now. He's he sits down for a moment and sort of breathes in for a moment. How do rests work again? I believe
you can do 2 as an action, then the other one requires 10 minutes or an hour. You can do about 4 a day. NPCs can do what's called a recovery, which is similar.
Yeah.
So I figure at this point, take a moment, refresh the pool.
Reverend. And I'm gonna refresh my sorcery pool. That's how it works. You refresh the pool,
cool.
Right?
Yeah. Just like
I
that.
imagine as the Reverend takes a seat by the kitchen, the teapots come
I just snap and they come over. I'm going to go look at my kitchen.
Do you need a hand, Lavinia?
If you wish to come, yes.
Wait. Fearing for Lucy's life, should this place be messed up, Robin is going to put a hand on the Reverend's shoulder and just nod in appreciation because he could feel that there was obviously some other spells at play. He heard the words. Then he turns around and closes the umbrella, causing the stardust rain to stop. And he hands it back completely convinced to Lucy and says, he leans forward and says, "It worked."
I know. And she'll take back the umbrella with the full intention of sometime soon giving this to Robin. But right now, since he believes it is a thing of power and he is giving it to her obviously for a reason, she's going to take it. And she'll hold it in front of her and poke open the kitchen door again so that we can get a better view of what has happened.
So, the kitchen looks very well together. However, Lobelia notices that demon
Mm-hmm.
had been swapping things like sugar and salt. Yeah, he was playing pranks on you. Some of the labels had been peeled off and replaced. Soy sauce is now hoisin sauce, etc.
What kind of monster does
Somebody clip that, because I'm going to tell you what, Grant Ellis just described to you how the demon of all lies would fuck up your kitchen. It's not how you think. It's just ruining your shit for your next 5 years. Brilliant. Fucking brilliant.
It's like, look, I'm just going to swap this jug of milk with a jug of milk that expired like 5 months ago. I froze it. I'm going to let it thaw. It's going to be completely curdled.
And now that expiration date is a lie.
Yeah. I don't think maybe Lucy Girl would notice anything, but because Lobelia is super OCD, like she notices.
Well, she knows her kitchen.
Yeah. And she's just like, look, I know he's the demon of all lies. What kind of a monster does this type of thing?
He tidied up.
As you look around, you notice there's other things that were wrong, but Tally's already one step ahead trying to fix everything. He's getting right in there. He's just like, this simply will not do. This simply cannot
Thank you,
be.
Vitali. Thank you. He has swapped these labels. These lids were color-coded in order of the shades of the spectrum of ultraviolet light. This was right here. This is sugar. This is granulated sugar, and this is refined. Oh my! The salt. I'm gonna need a moment. If you would mind.
Considering she's an empath and unable to resist that part of herself, Lucy's going to reach out an arm and just kind of wrap it around Lobelia to try and give her some comfort. Despite the fact she's inherently terrified of Lobelia, she can see, like, this is someone in pain. This is someone going through something quite terrible for them, and so she'll just...
This is going to take so much time to correct.
We'll help you. You don't have to do it on your own.
So I have just played a soothe card. This steamy card comes up every now and then.
Oh my.
The Sovereign. The Revolutionary. So everyone's going to get +1 on all actions, +2 if your heart's connected. This is tied to ravens, books, flames, and secrets. And the card meaning is lust, sexuality, change, and destruction. The game narrative. An NPC feels lust for someone. An NPC who has not formerly displayed much in the way of anything does so for the first time. Now, there is a knock on the door to Lobelia's house.
You know what? This can wait. I will compose myself. All right. I'll get the door.
Reverend's already at the door.
Oh, the Reverend. Reverend opened. How tall is Reverend Neil?
So Reverend Neil is probably he's probably about 5'10", 5'11", you know, tall enough to be taller than most people and be a little imposing, but not
5'10's taller than most people and a little imposing. I'll take it.
Hear that, husband?
I mean, it's taller than average.
So
well,
you open the door. There is a tall gentleman. He's about 6'3". He's dressed wearing a coat. It appears to be made out of the midnight sky itself. His hair is radiant as the sun, and he glows with a pale glow that reminds you of the moonlight. And he goes, "The Reverend Neil," and recognizes you immediately.
Do I recognize him?
No. You are too busy with your congregation.
I see that you know me as I hold out my hand to shake it. I believe, as you said, I am Reverend Neil. I believe I am at a disadvantage, though, as I'm sorry I'm not familiar with yourself.
Yes. I've come to make a donation to your congregation. In fact, I've acquired for you uh, 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 renovators to help prepare your place of worship. Um, I am the chamberman. Pleased to meet you. And he extends his hand.
Oh, well, I'm very pleased to make your acquaintance, my good sir. Um, I would be happy, I shake hands with him.
Sorry, chat just killed me. I just saw where Levi Phipps. Baby steps, Da Vinci. I don't have legs. Sorry, this whole Robin Da Vinci. Sorry. Yes, we'll resume in character. Thank you, chat.
And so I would be very happy to discuss the restoration of the church. I would perhaps love to make an appointment with you at a possible later time. I do apologize. I'm currently meeting with some other folks of my congregation at the moment, and yeah, there is Miss Lobelia herself, the proprietress of this lovely and warm and welcoming household.
Oh, the house is quite delightful. It's very well organized and maintained. That's extremely important.
It is. Thank you so much. Would you like to come in?
Uh, sure. I don't mean to trouble you. He comes in. He catches Robin. He's familiar with Robin and Robin's people. He has a very pained look on his face when he sees Robin. Almost as if he feels as if he has done Robin a disservice before. Robin, he has many times. And agents of him have also been responsible for running your people all over town. And he comes in. He goes, guess. I'm curious if any of the players, either Reverend Neil, Lucy Girl, Robin, or Lobelia, have any questions about the Chamberman as he comes in, and we can kind of develop some backstory how your characters may know. For example, he most likely owns the apartment building that Lucy Girl lives in, like the entire building. He is known as a man of property, a regular Forsyte, if you will.
Charlie doesn't like him.
What is what? Okay, no, go first. Go.
No, you go ahead.
No.
No.
You're the guest in my house. I insist you go first.
I think Reverend Neil has probably heard of him. I mean, Reverend Neil certainly, I think he certainly talks. He talks a lot with his congregation, and I'm 100% sure someone in his congregation has probably brought up the Chamberlain with him before.
I'll tell you this much: most people are afraid of nightmares.
Mm-hmm.
Here in Fartown, people are afraid of the Chambermen.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's something that probably Reverend Neil teased out, not like teased out someone, but like got them to open up about that a little bit. So he's possibly heard the stories, some stories about
all of which are true.
I don't know. So would Reverend Neil know that all of those are true?
He would have no reason to disbelieve a member of his congregation.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, Reverend Neil's the type that's like, rumors can get blown out of proportion. Let's talk about, Miss Lobelia here, for instance. She's a lovely lady. I've not been struck down by some mysterious pet yet, an invisible pet. So it's like, he's of the mind that like I'm sure that there are probably many grains of truth within the stories that people have told me and why they fear him, and I'm sure there's valid reason to be afraid of him. Any man with power is someone to be slightly afraid of, for how they use it. But I think he's also like, let me sort of decide for myself. Let me see what the truth is. That's sort of his outlook on everything.
You all met him once before. He was the executor of the estate.
Of the will. Yep.
But
Oh, okay, so
he does seem a little out of sorts though from the last time you met him there. Not
Mhm.
like he's baffled or anything, but almost as if. All right, so metagame players wise, the Chamberman can split himself into multiple forms known as modalities. He is currently split into 4. This is all public knowledge because all my games are public. On the last episode of My Neon Life, Summer convinced the Chamberman to split into 4 versions of himself. So some are going about town conducting business, some are working at the hospital treating sick Vizsla. One is off on a quest with the rest of the party. This is the 4th one. He is the philanthropist, going about trying to right wrongs. And he currently feels he has wronged Reverend Neil, and so he's here trying to right that.
Let's see. So should we come up with a reason why he would think he's wronged Reverend Neil right now, or is that something that Reverend Neil wouldn't know about?
You know how your church is kind of in your house and your apartment's like knocked down and devastated? That's not from the war, it's because the Chamberman had it demolished so he could set up a mini mart.
Okay. All right.
Business.
Yes. I am certain that it was put up to good use during the time that it was, knocked down, as long as it was used for good.
No. Most definitely was not.
Yes.
I'm curious if Lucy Girl has had any interaction with the Chamberman. Charlie's like, I got food in my mouth. Go to Greg. No, we'll go to Greg.
I was gonna say that Robin is not buying any of this. He's feeling his druthers a bit after having just aided in the expulsion of a greater demon. He considers the being in front of him to be worse than that. This is somebody that has taken pleasure and joy in throwing him and his people off of land that they had, cultivated into a bit of a home. And I was going to say that with Lucy being the leasee of the landlord-esque the chamberman in front of us, it would be very much like a sorority where the two of them are over in the corner, just arms crossed. This is what Robin's doing, staring at this cat, not buying a word, philanthropy. I mean, it's just Charlie Brown's teachers talking to him. And, there'd just be a cocked eyebrow towards Lucy every once in a while, and which would probably be mimicked inside the jacket by a from Leo, which would sound odd, but or like a fart. No, we're not sure.
That Lucy, for her part, is listening to what the Chamberlain's saying, since he does own her building. She really does like where she lives, and she doesn't have a connection. Nice. But I do think she is definitely hovering near to Robin now, and kind of maybe occasionally there's a tiny smile that catches the side of her lips as Robin makes his dismissive sounds. She's nervous. I think she's afraid of why the Chamberlain is actually here.
He turns his attention right towards Lucy Girl. What's the name of your apartment buildings? Is there a name?
It's called the Coral Complex.
The Coral Complex. He's like, you live up in Coral Complex, don't you?
3B.
How are you enjoying it? What would make it better?
I like it a lot. The neighbors are quiet, and It was very nice for you to let me have my pet. The ghosts are friendly and quiet, a little too quiet sometimes, and no, I like it a lot.
Are they charging you a pet fee to keep your snail?
I think there was something in the contract. I just pay when the invoice comes through.
Pulls out a card. Card says Chamberman, villain of Fartown. And he writes a little note on it. And he says, "You hand this to the landlord, and we'll remove that pet fee. I decided we shouldn't be charging people extra for pets. Pets are people too. They should be allowed."
That's very nice of you. Thank you. Thanks.
The old man teapot is like steaming, like there's an engraved face on the teapot. He's like, "I don't like this smelly guy in here."
Is there any insight equivalent? Because this definitely is a different kind of chamberman from any Lucy has ever met in, I think, in her
Yes,
business.
100%. So let's look at our pools, and our pools will help us determine what we can do. So it's going to be a roll of a 10-sided die. There might be spells that help us figure it out. And then we can figure out if there's any Benny. So it's going to be a qualia pool. Either interaction or intellect if you're going off of historical knowledge. So it's you could spend interaction and just simply roll.
Yeah, I'm gonna say because she's kind of an empath, she's gonna go with her gut feeling. And yeah, I'm gonna spend. I have 3 interaction. I'm just gonna use all of them. I want to get some good insight.
Okay.
I rolled a 7, so that is a 10 in total.
Okay. So here is what you know. He's being nice because he's hoping to make allies, and while he is clearly changed from the Chamberman you know, a legit change, his intentions are somewhere else here. You can tell he is searching something. You can tell that even though he's talking to you, he's using spells to try to spot around the house. He's trying to find something. And his eyes, his magical eyes, are locked on Lobelia's purse.
So this is what I would like to do.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as his attention turns away, because I imagine he's slowly moving around people.
He will, yes.
I would like to use my weaving magic, and I want to take some of the moonlight, which is one of my essences, and I want to actually craft it to create a beacon that he will be drawn to with the searching magic. The idea being that when you're like locating, you're kind of looking for a ping, like an arcana ping or an object ping, and she wants to make a false one in the way that moon can create strange shadows, and it can illuminate things and make them odd, and it can turn sane thinking people to strange and weird thoughts. So she's going to use the light of the moon to actually obfuscate the situation. So instead of eliminating and showing truth, she's going to shift it around.
This is awesome.
Distract.
I really like this. Go ahead and just roll a 10-sided die for me and tell me what you get.
I got a 6.
Okay. So the moon glow within the Chamberman's mind. He pauses for a second. He thanks Lobelia for his hospitality and says he looks forward to paying a visit some other time. And then he leaves. He clearly could tell that he was being deceived, but he couldn't tell by who or by what. But he could tell this isn't something he wants to force. It's something that he wants the group to be ready for. So he's going to try to think of different ways that he can earn the respect and trust of the group, which he may never. But he could tell he was just like, if I stay here too long, I risk offending people or making a fool of myself, and I, the Chamberman, am no fool. And he departs.
I imagine since Robin has stood next to Lucy Girl, he may have seen the a strange shadow, I imagine, creep from her feet, almost like in Peter Pan when the shadow separates from a person, and kind of scoot across the floor, and maybe some sort of dull light kind of glowed from her as she was weaving with that essence that she has.
And you get a point of joy for deceiving the Chamberman, who is a very powerful magic user. Um, I'm curious now, sort of what Lobelia's mood to this whole interaction is.
She's mildly confused at his abrupt exit, maybe even slightly offended, as she offered, hospitality, and it was, accepted initially, but then very suddenly just dismissed, almost mid-conversation, you could say.
I will say this though, I wouldn't say mid-conversation. He found
Okay.
a punctuation point to get out. He's not tacky.
Okay, if he's not being outright rude, she'll just be a bit confused and wonder if
Everyone's a little confused by it, except Lucy Girl and Robin.
what has she gleaned from Batali? Because she doesn't get out of her house too terribly often, except for when probably Reverend Neil has been like, hey, why don't you come help out with this or do this? But she's been grilling Batali on the neighbors and people in the neighborhood, so she doesn't have to get out per se as much. And she's
Batali's just like, there goes the baker with his bread like always. No, yeah. Batali, he says, well, they're all so great. And he starts talking about the Roswell alien and how he was supposed to join him for a game of cards, which he'd very much like to do so. In fact, you're invited if you'd like to come. And he kind of holds out his hands, kind of hoping you take them. Do you want to come play cards?
Well, I've not played cards before, but I suppose I could try as long as it doesn't interfere with the timeline of the project.
He may have a perfect unbroken heart for you. This will let you decide.
Well, I suppose that would be a good thing to do.
Not to mention you're going to win all kinds of money playing cards.
Materials are expensive.
Yes.
She would just be curious, I guess, just intrigued as to when she'll see the Chambermaid again. She's a very business-minded individual, so she's not like, oh man, he's doing all sorts of horrible things. She's probably like, oh yeah, it's just business.
An appointment has been made to later meet at Reverend Neil's church with Renovators, the Chamberman. We'll say in a week's time, because the Chamberman has a very busy schedule, even though he's split into 4 forms. So in a week's time, we can meet with the Chamberman. That would actually be a good scene to set to start our next episode, which will be on the 20th for those that can make it. I know, Lobelia, I don't think you can. But we
on
can
the
do
28th? No.
We can do some side scenes in between as well to sort of figure out.
Oh, yeah, because we're not meeting next week. So.
For all we know, you meet him there a little earlier. Well, the Chamberman didn't show up. Oh, why not? Well, he showed up later. It's just his heart had been cut out. So let's move to character summaries for this session. It's a slightly shorter session. I am under the weather. I appreciate all the players playing. But let's sort of move through everyone's thoughts. Let's go ahead and start with Robin. How Robin's feelings through the various scenes we've played.
Oh, this is great because Robin was able to, whether it wasn't by his own wish, obviously, but he got to infiltrate Lobelia's area, and he now has Leo da Vinci, the inner coat pocket puppet or something.
My pocket puppet.
Right. It sounds perfect. By the way, just an asterisk note, I get the greatest combination of Carcosa and Wonderland from this place. It is just the greatest and worst and most terrifying things in Lobelia's house. It's just madness incarnate. I love it. But for Robin specifically, his path to joy is the first time speaking with an object that's never been spoken to or loved. And so, with Leo da Vinci, his pocket puppet, and also the first time I can make a permanent friend or ally with a plant or an object. And so this is a good one for Robin. Hey, it's almost as if the banishment of a greater demon was a distant second to the arrival of Leo and the blossoming relationship that can only come from a one-armed puppet that lives in your coat.
This is the best worst NPC that we've ever come up with in a game. And this is what happens when Lindy, Charlie, and Grant stay up till 4 in the morning after last week's session talking about what we're going to do to Big Brother Greg this week. But yeah, so you're going to get 2 points of joy at the end of the session, as well as a point of acumen for dealing with the greater demon. In fact, everyone will get a point of acumen for sort of playing through this demon story. Let's go over to Reverend Neil.
Okay. That was great. That was a ton of I loved seeing Robin's reactions to everything. Let's see. Reverend Neil, I think at the end there, where there was a little bit of progression, I think that he heard the offer to restore the church, which is his character arc, which is build. His character art is to build something. Specifically, in this case, it's to restore the church from ruin. I don't know if that counts as the first opening step to that yet, because if you look at the book, it says this is where the first opening step is to draw plans. I think right now he's got.
I'd count it as the first opening step.
Okay.
I
If we
imagine
wanna flesh
Reverend
it out a little
Steele
more.
started working like your
Yeah, he definitely has ideas. Okay, so then so he's made a step on his arc here. So I think that he ends this session in a good mood. He's not blind to the concerns of his wow, I just completely blanked on. I'm just blanking on words real hard. On the concerns of his congregation. There we go. On the concerns of his congregation. But I think that he is very open-minded when it comes to penance and forgiveness because of what he's experienced in his life and the things he's done. So I think he's optimistic about the meeting that he has coming forward. I think that he was very happy to see Lucy Girl sort of offering her help to Lobelia and possibly the two of them having a moment that was not Lucy Girl being absolutely terrified of Lobelia. So I think he also was happy that happened. I don't think I really hit anything else on my path to joy or despair, though.
No, yeah, and it's one to think about. They'll happen over time. Some sessions you might get 2, 3, or 4. Other sessions you won't get any. But the game encourages a style of play for us to lean into the adventure and see what happens. The book itself says if the game will push players into a position where they will hit rock bottom. They'll say, as a game master, sometimes you feel that you want to protect the players. You don't want them to hit rock bottom. But Monte Cook says, how great is the story of the character that gets hit rock bottom and then fights their way back up. It was like you get the opportunity to tell that story in this game. I think we're starting to see that with Reverend Neil, who's, for lack of a better term, has seen some things in his day. And I'm curious to see where this path takes the good Reverend. But likewise, you do get a point of acumen for dealing with the demon adventure. as well as a point of acumen for beginning to draw out the plans. And I think you have good potential for some side scenes and some side stories that you might even consider writing about Neil, his church, his congregation, even if it's just adjacent to all the story, because I think there's a lot of interesting narrative potential there. Maybe a challenge is to come up with 3 members of your congregation and why they attend your services. That'd be really
100% Kibo's fly neighbor. He's definitely
It's all I've got.
he's
All
a
I've got is the
regular.
church.
I hear about the spiders in the window every day.
And almost MVP magician there, Lucy Girl Charlie. Let's talk about how Lucy Girl, what she was feeling during the various scenes, as well as how she's evolved.
I think like Lucy definitely doesn't think she was the MVP in that situation. I think Reverend Neil and Robin did a totally incredible thing. I think Lucy was just being super empathetic. Like she wanted Robin to be strong because she didn't know how she was going to deal with the demon, but she believed that Robin could. She continued to have this respectful bond with Reverend Neil, who always seems to know what to do and what to say. And seeing Lobelia in such distress, she couldn't help it. Like, it doesn't matter how scared she is, Lobelia was a person who was in such distress, even if she didn't understand it. It was super cool to get to use her magic today, and obviously she was rewarded for outwitting someone with her magic. But she believes in the defense of this key, I think almost more than she believes it. I think she believes it is part of her path of this cleansing thing, is she has to protect this key. Because until she can cleanse and undo the corruption, this key is like the ultimate sword, and it's the ultimate treasure, and it's also like the ultimate weapon. This is like a world-ending weapon in her mind.
It is exactly that.
I think that I don't think she has continued on her arc yet, because the next step for her is to, where'd it go? Sorry, I keep flipping through documents. Is to find the solution, to figure out how to stop the contamination, which likely involves research and consultation, which I think we were doing a bit of at the beginning, and that's how the Demon of Lives came out. But I think this session has been for her more of a progression as part of this new community that she's found, this new group of people who is tied together.
Building bonds. I think I'd like to award you a point of joy for definitely displaying the empathy. I think every party member showed it. You're allowed to award points of joy and despair for these sort of role-playing moments too, because I actually learned a lot about playing an empath by watching you play. It was definitely, it was educational to watch.
I realized today that I think almost Lucy Girl is kind of a less confident Mary Poppins. Like she makes magic out of simple things and likes bringing color and life, but it's all about really inviting people to play the pretend game with you and trying to, make housework better and rainy days magical and things like that. And I think that's how I think of Lucy. Like, she's Mary Poppins, but she's less confident about it.
Practically mediocre in every way.
Yeah.
I'm Lucy Poppins.
I'm Lucy Poppins.
And last, Lobelia, let's talk about your arc and what you're feeling in all these scenes. And your terrifying house.
Her fantastic, wonderful house. She loves her house. So you're just shaking your head, Tom. She loves her house. She's very particular about her house. She doesn't have guests over often, which is partially why all of her objects in her house that she's given life to were so excited to see people today. However, she was not necessarily as excited. The demon in her kitchen that just fucked with everything, she sees as just like one of the worst things that could have happened, because that's going to take so much time to have to reorganize and refix everything. Even if she has help, she knows she's going to have to go behind some of them and fix their help, because it's not right. It's not right. there. And she just sees that as taking time away from what time she has to work on her project, her finishing her great work. So
Now, Batali has taught himself a cantrip uh, that will align things up to Lobelia's pattern. He knows he can't do it himself, but he has practiced magic. Batali is going to die in the friend zone.
I feel so bad for him because I love him so much. But Lobelia.
He'll only let you down. He'll be a disappointment. But
So
his goal is to go his whole life without disappointing you. To the point where he's going to introduce you to a Roswell alien. You're going to have the night of your life. And that's sort of the next sort of narrative scene. So we'll sort of discuss
yeah,
how
I'd
those
love
play
to
out.
talk about that.
So narrative-wise, over time, this is how the card games go. I've played the Tyrannical Clock card, schedule repetition. Essentially, something good is approaching, and everyone knows it. And it will soon be a holiday or a day of celebration. That's more ways than one here, both in shadow and the actuality. And essentially, the cards, the alien is interesting, but neither his heart nor their soul is exactly what Lobelia is looking for. However, it is an enjoyable evening. Did any of the other party members join in that game of cards?
Yeah, did you join the card game with us? Meet the alien and Batali.
Lucy is actually the neighbor. I believe the cornfield is next to
Yeah.
the coral complex. And so I think Lucy would have gone down to play cards. And she really likes games. Cards sounds like a lot of fun. And I think she would be slowly forgetting the terror of Lobelia right up until Lobelia opens her mouth and says something terrifying. And then she'd be like, that's right, you're the heart and soul stealer. I remember now. I'm there. I remember now. And it's that shudder up the spine moment of, oh, yeah, that's right, that's who I'm playing with. Not, nice and fun and...
A mean game of cards.
Yeah.
All business.
Strangely enough, Robin would go as well. However, he's going to attempt to cheat by putting a card into just sitting there with his hands clearly in sight as Leo would reach every once in a while. And so that would be
Lover's hands. He has cheating hands.
Are we all at this card? Are we all at this card game? Because I also get the feeling that possibly Lucy Girl invited Reverend over, and I also think the Roswell alien is also a member of my congregation.
Yes.
I imagine he goes, I have these visions sometimes, these probing visions, but it's not me. That's not my life, Reverend. I'm a haunted.
Play one last card. If everyone's there, I gotta play one last card for that card game. Ooh,
we've got to come up with a name for the Roswell alien too. It has to be like
Roz.
Fox.
Dream.
Yeah.
Beethoven.
His name's Ross.
Ross.
Wow.
He's the Roswell alien. He's in love with the Rachel Well alien.
So horrible. Essentially, I'm gonna read something from the card that I played. The dreams are strange constructs of our subconscious, made stranger still because we don't remember them clearly. Some say that in shadow, people's dreams seem strange because they're remembering the actuality, and in the actuality, people's dreams resemble the mundanity of the gray, which is shadow. This is, at least in part, true, but of course, like anything having to do with the deepest reaches of the mind, it's much more complex than that. The line between memory and dream is already tenuous, but the memory of a dream, or the dream of a memory, who can count on that? And so the card I played is the Misremembered Dream. It's not necessarily a bad card turn, but confusion and mistakes may occur. And
I think with Robin's cheating, everyone's very confused. There are some aces in this deck by the end of the game.
Is
We're
there
like-
drinking?
Oh,
At
Lobelia.
least you can
we're
win
at the
Reverend
party.
drinking.
There's drinking. Everyone has had a lot. Batali gets Lobelia home. Lucy Girl's just across the street. Reverend Neil escorts her. Robin is kind of teeter-tottering his way down the way, and he's approached by a crow-faced creature who has a mantle of candles on its shoulders. And he speaks to him, "My Lord Master, you return." And that's where we will end the session. And with that, let's go
Can
ahead
I change one tiny detail?
which
I like
detail
to
what?
think that Lucy Girl actually invited everyone to stay at her house for the night because we were all so trashed. But maybe for some reason Robin insisted that he had to go back home. He had something to do. Because I really want to do a sleepover at Lucy's house. Because she never has guests. Because she's aromatic and she doesn't have that many friends. And now she's got friends.
We're both aromatics.
Yeah, and that's when Lobelia's like, "But I've got my creatures to tend to. There's this room of them." They're like, "Oh, she's away." Oh. They cry every time she leaves the house.
The Misty
They're like
Terror.
cats. No, yeah, you
From
guys can do
outside
this.
you hear the wail of despair.
If everyone wants to do a sleepover, then that is what you do. And
I think tipsy Lobelia would be like, yes, sleepover. And then, like, the more she sobers up, the more she's like, I should go.
Batali's very worried about that. He's like, she's got a chamberman to catch. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. With that, let's throw it to back to Grimjack, and let's close out the show.
Oh, thank you so much, brother. I know you're under the weather. I appreciate it very much, you coming out here and running us through the actuality. It's always such a blast. It is the most absolutely psycho-intensive creative session where anything goes. And anybody that's ever been in a writing room before, and you have those ones that are zany and a couple of the more conservative, oh, no, that'll never work. I love this place because there's none of that. There's none of this will never work. Everything works. It's awesome. And it proves that even zany and the 1% of creativity is just the most delicious part. And Monte Cook's right. The zeroing down of a character and the reemergence or ascent or recreation, there isn't a better story. And if you look at all the ones that you love, that's the story. Grimjack21502, Twitches and the Twitters. Let's cast it around to everybody else. And let's see. I'm going to go, I'll go off to the side here and pick up the murder boot wearing doll. Lindy, how are you doing, my friend? And how did you like that day in the city of forever?
Oh, man. Bad day for Lobelia. So many people in her house tracking in all the stuff. Demon fucked up her kitchen. But she played some cards. She's getting out more. It's weird. She's not sure if she likes it. Lindy, however, is having a blast. Absolutely adored it. This was a lot of fun. I was waiting for you to find the rejection room the whole time, Greg. I was like, yes, made it just for you. I hope you liked that. You can find me online on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, all that cool stuff at LaughLoveLindy. You should definitely check out my channel on Monday afternoon because we are doing part 3, the final installment of our Blood Plague trilogy, DM'd by Jonathan Fry on Monday afternoon, and then Tuesday evenings doing some Mists of Ravenloft. So if you think Lobelia is creepy, you should come check out the Soul Kraken that's eating a ship right now in that game. That'll be a lot of fun. You'll love it.
Fantastic. And as we skip over the Wise Papa one, we will land with the umbrella wielding, empath gifting, sleepover having, best buddy of Robin, Lucy Girl. How are you doing, Charlie? And how did you like your next night in the city of forever?
I'm doing great. This has been a wonderful end to a week that, for me, has been filled with finales, to saying goodbye to a lot of characters and a lot of games. So this was wonderful to come back here and to make great things in a place where, as you said, anything can happen and anything is okay, and you just keep going. I can't wait, and I look forward to keep going in the new year. As for me, a lot of my things have ended, but on Sunday, I'm doing a one-shot on, I think it's the Other Docs channel. The game is called My Life with Master. And we get to play the minions of some Master. It's a very gothic theme. Lindy, you would love it. I'm really excited to try it out. And on Monday, I forget whose channel is hosting it, but I will be playing Bluebeard's Bride, Damned by Kiana. Wonderful all-female group of really talented role players. I think that is going to be at 12 p.m. EST. Yeah, but I will post all the details on my Twitter, which is at Frost from Fire, and that will have everywhere I'm going to be. I'm hoping to get involved with the WebDM and Grant Ellis's Mastermind Charity Mega Stream thing going on. So details of that coming up too. But thank you, everyone, for a wonderful Friday night. I appreciate you all, and this has been great.
Awesome, my friend. And we will drop straight down to the Reverend Tommy, who the Reverend gets cooler and cooler. I have this like really weird, like Tom Skerritt, like river runs through it vibe, but not exactly, and it's just, I really just picture like my favorite people, like my favorite character actors as the Reverend. And I think your portrayal of him is fantastic, man. I'm really, really digging it. How did you like your next or your latest evening in the City of Forever?
Oh, it's great. I love playing this system. I love playing with you guys. Y'all, as Reverend would say. It's so much fun where it's literally all just whatever you can think of, you can make it happen. And I loved getting to see a little bit of the different flavors of magic in this game today. And I'm certainly looking forward to our next session. I've already started, thinking about members of my congregation and little side stories for them. So I will be working on those. But yeah, I am Imperator Pengu on Twitter. I do video game stuff and tabletop RPG stuff. Following me on at Imperator Penguin's the best way to know what I'm doing, as I announce everything there. I am on a weekly show on the Greyhawk channel on Mondays at 1 p.m. Eastern, run by the amazing pro restarter, who is like just imagine Lobelia's house, but that's the whole world. It's dark and it's scary, but there are like some shiny bits he draws us towards, but then it's dark and scary again. And it's creepy, but it's amazing and it's great and I love it. I'll be on Tuesday. I will be on one of Grant's awesome charity shows at 2 p.m. Eastern. Head over to his Twitter to find out all about those. I'm gonna have to starting with the new year. I'm gonna have to like actually post a schedule of stuff because I have a bunch of stuff coming up in January. But the other thing I think you should know is I run and produce a podcast called the Tabletop Explore Society. We are a learn by play podcast committed to trying out all the various and amazing tabletop RPG systems that are out there and learning them as we play, and hopefully, helping other people find new systems to play and learn how to play them. We are currently having a few hosting issues. You can still get our first episode right now. As soon as we fix that, there'll be like 4 episodes out. But definitely follow us at Tabletop Explore on Twitter. And yeah, I am excited for our next session.
Awesome, my friend. And in mention of Pro Restarter, your DM over on the Greyhawk channel, friend of this channel, Pro, who has been on here before as a couple different characters. Happy birthday, I believe it is still his birthday. Fantastic person, great friend. As for me, Grimjack21502, Twitches and the Twitters, hit that follow button. We've got a lot of fun things kind of rounding out the end of the year. Project Chronos tomorrow, a Pulp Cthulhu offering. from 2 to 4 Eastern. And then on Sunday from 7 to 9, Lindy will be back as we do a little Pulp Cthulhu for Project Athena. And
Much
as
less
we,
creepy character.
yeah, you on brand, hashtag it. And then right after Project Athena at 9:30 for our Dragonlance 5th edition D&D offering, we have a bonus episode called the Tomb of the Jackal Queen. Super pulpy, run by DM Donathan Fry. Be there for that. And then hit us up on Twitter for the rest of the schedule. But with that, I hand it over to the man, the myth, the legend, the person that created a mischief-loving demon of lies that switched up the ingredients in a fucking kitchen, because that is brilliant. My friend, my brother, take us away.
Hey everybody, and my name's Grant Ellis. I'm an independent content creator for tabletop role-playing games with an emphasis on 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons and Cypher system. I'm currently a designer on 3 different products for 2C Gaming. Follow them. I'll be contributing chapters in the TPK Handbook Volume 2, the TPK Bestiary, and a future, as of yet to be announced, project, which I will have extensive input on, possibly designing the wholesome thing. I'm also working with several other companies that I'm not at liberty to name yet, but if you keep following me on Twitter, you will have formal announcements as the time comes. I produce 4 Invisible Sun shows across 4 different Twitch channels. I'm the head producer of WebDM's Twitch channel. I'm running a lot of games for charity. In fact, this year I'm playing in a lot of games for charity. There's still games open. Not every spot's filled. It's just right now, the way it works is when we have over 200 people that apply for games and we have over 20 games of charity, we have to make sure the first 4 or 5 games go off without a hitch, and that everything is lined up and they're locked down, and then we can start allocating resources to the later games. On December 21st, it'll be my 36th birthday, and I will run entirely improvised sessions of role-playing games with zero prep. A few people have played when I do this. I love doing it on stream. Just different people can come in, join in, and we will play a role-playing game that I will teach on the fly. We'll build characters, and we'll participate in a narrative together. I think it's a great way to stretch the imagination and get those DMnastics in. And as far as that, thank you all for tuning in. Definitely love Invisible Sun. I really enjoy this cast, and I just feel bad for some of the other cast because they had to learn the game from the ground up with me. However, while we're all learning here, there's just something magical that's clicking in this particular world and setting, and I look forward to the next time we get to see you all. So thank you all, and have a good night.